Enterprise by Nissim Ezekiel. Nissim Ezekiel was an Indian Jewish poet, actor, playwright, editor, and critic. He was born on the 16th of December 1924 in Mumbai and died on 9th January 2004. He is popularly known as the father of modern Indian English poetry. During his lifetime, he had a number of collections of poetry published, which were very popular, and the poem Enterprise is one such poetry. The theme of the poem Enterprise revolves around a metaphorical journey to a pilgrimage, started by some pilgrims, which included the poet himself. The poet has used very simple language in the poem. It has 6 stanzas with 5 lines each. It started as a pilgrimage, exalting minds and making all the burdens light. This is a poem about a group of people who had gone on a pilgrimage. They had set forth this journey with great excitement and enthusiasm. They had high hopes of making their burdens light. The second stage explored but did not test the call. The sun beat down to match our rage. So, as they started their journey, things went well just for a short period. Things did not turn out as they expected. They are about to face many difficulties on their way, and the first problem the poet mentions is the heat of the sun. The heat of the sun was unbearable, so this added to their anger and frustration. We stood it very well, I thought, observed and put down copious notes on things the peasants sold and bought, the way of serpents and of goats, 3 cities where a sage had taught. The poet thought that everything went well after they overcame the heat of the sun. They were happy, so they proceeded with their journey and kept themselves busy observing and taking down notes on various things the farmers were selling and buying. They even noted down where the snakes and goats went. They also observed the 3 cities where a holy man had taught. So, what I have just mentioned are some of the things the pilgrims did on their journey. But when the differences arose on how to cross a desert patch, we lost a friend whose stylish prose was quite the best of all our batch. A shadow falls on us and grows. So things starts to change in the third stanza. The pilgrims had their own opinions and started to argue on small things like how to cross the desert land. And as a result, the best prose writer, or we can say the most intellectual person among them, left the group. Their frustration continues to darken the journey, so problems after problems fell upon them. Another phase was reached when we were twice attacked and lost our way. A section claimed its liberty to leave the group. I tried to pray. Our leader said he smelled the sea. In the fourth stanza, they reached a place where they were attacked twice by robbers or fellow travelers. And to worsen the situation, they even lost their way. In the stanza, again a group of pilgrims left the group due to the disagreement among themselves. In that situation, the narrator decided to pray and ask God to help them. The leader of the group was also helpless, as he realized they had no hope. So, in order to comfort his followers, he gave them false hope by telling them that the sea is near, so they are about to reach their destination. We noticed nothing as we went, a straggling crowd of little hope. As they continued, they could see nothing. They found no hope. They now looked like a group of people aimlessly spreading in different directions. Ignoring what the thunder meant, deprived of common needs like soap, some were broken, some merely bent. They were too tired mentally and physically to understand what the thunder meant. Okay, here thunder means God's voice. So they could not even understand what God wants to say to them anymore. Their condition was so bad, they were deprived of common needs like soap, which means they were physically and mentally low. They were exhausted in spirit and body. Some members could not even walk properly. In this stanza, we can imagine the pathetic condition of the pilgrims. When finally we reached the place, we hardly knew why we were there. Finally, to their relief, they reach their destination, but they are confused as to why they are there. They did not gain anything from their pilgrimage. They found their journey meaningless. The trip had darkened every face. Our deeds were neither great nor rare. The problems and difficulties they faced during their journey had darkened the pilgrims' face. Instead of enlightening them, the spiritual life of the pilgrims was darkened. After reaching their destination, they realized there was nothing extraordinary about their journey. It was nothing great nor rare. Home is where we have to gather grace. So the poet concludes the poem by telling us that it is of no use to undertake such journey. He realizes his mistake, he regrets of going on a pilgrimage. He says, we can find God anywhere, even in our home. So, the main thing is to do good to people around us. He says, doing good to people around us is how we can attain God's grace.